And good morning. Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Once again, promoting our schools, securing our future. Our great friend Todd Christensen joining us from CapEd Credit Union. We love teachers. CapEd Credit Union. Couldn't do it without them. Of course, so many locations in the Treasure Valley. Good to have you back.
Treasure Valley and the Magic Valley. We always tend to forget that every once in a while, but we do have a new location down in Twin Falls.
Indeed, and speaking of a new location, here we are at a brand new location.
Brand new facility, the Idaho College of Osteopathic Medicine. I think that was the new word of the day, osteopathic.
Yes, thank you, Todd. Yes, it was. And we have a very special guest with us.
We do. We have Dr. Tracy Farnsworth, who is with the College of Osteopathic Medicine, and I'd like to introduce him and welcome him to the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, sir, here. Good to have you with us. So, for people just tuning in, they drive by this facility, this school, every morning and every afternoon. What goes on here?
Well, first of all, isn't it a wonderful view from the freeway?
I would say.
My goodness. In fact, there's roughly 200,000 people that drive by this incredible building every day. So this, of course, is the Idaho College of Osteopathic Medicine, the first medical school in the state of Idaho, which we dedicated or cut the ribbon of on September 5th of 2018. It's a beautiful 94,000 square foot building, about a $35 million project that we recently finished, and what an incredible story.
Indeed, from concept to reality, easier said than done?
You know, Kevin, we've been talking, many of us, for decades about the need for medical school here in Idaho. Idaho, as you may know, is virtually last in the nation in physicians per capita. We knew we had to do something, and finally the stakeholders came together and figured out a way through a public-private partnership to launch Idaho's first school of medicine.
Quite a responsibility.
It is. It's an enormous responsibility. We have today 162 students in this inaugural class, 42 of whom hail right here from Idaho, the rest from around the country. These are beautiful, talented, devoted kids, serious about the study of medicine, and we're greatly blessed to have them.
So, you know, we had an opportunity for us to work at CapEd and either at our branch location off of South Meridian or at Stratford, driving past us on a regular basis, and started to see it come out of the ground, and then today in its grandeur. What were the steps that you had to take to get to today? I mean, you've talked about that it took decades and thoughts to come together, but what was the process that you had to go through to get the medical school here?
Sure. Well, again, Idaho is 49th out of 50th in the nation in terms of physicians per capita. That's a problem. So when you talk about access to health care, if you can't get access to a physician, you don't have access to health care by and large. And so many of us in the healthcare industry, in the medical industry, business, education, other leaders have been talking for a long time about how do we get a school of medicine here in Idaho? And there have been various failed efforts. Finally, about 2.5 years ago, the Governor Idaho, Otter, gathered a group of people in his office and announced the creation of ICOM, which again is a public-private partnership. Some wonderful persons on the private side, including the Rice University Foundation, the Burrell family, partnered with Idaho State University to create this Idaho College of Osteopathic Medicine. So it was announced in February of 2016 that we would do this. And can you believe in just a little over 2.5 years, we designed and constructed this beautiful, absolute state-of-the-art School of Medicine. We went through the very rigorous process of getting approval from our accrediting body, then recruited very talented faculty and staff from around the country, very talented clinical and biomedical scientists that will train these young student doctors, designed and built this incredible building, recruited this inaugural class, did all of that in 2.5 years. And it's a great story.
That is amazing. We're going to ask you to stand by for a moment, sir, if that works for you.
You bet.
All right, Todd, is that okay with you?
Certainly, it's your air, so.
Well, no, it's the people's air, but we're going to have more here from ICOM in a minute here on KIDO Talk Radio. Our time is 8:11. Joining us now, Diamond and Silk. promoting their new movie. And again, it's a very eclectic show here. We go from Idaho's first medical school to Diamond and Silk. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, you two are just a dynamic duo. You're phenomena. People love you on social media. They love you on Fox News. What is it about both of you that makes your message, your personality so special?
You know what? It may be because we're not robotic talking heads. We're truth tellers.
That's right.
We just go give it to you straight from the gate. And I think that it resonates with people because sometimes we may say things that others want to say, and they may not know how to say it or may be just afraid to say it because it's not politically correct.
Well, obviously it is resonating. I saw you both in Washington. People loved you at the Fair Conference. Let's talk a little bit about your new movie. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, we're being featured in a movie called Democrats. We know that the president is draining the swamp. So what we're doing is exposing the swamp and exposing the hypocrisy on the left. You know, you see a congresswoman running around talking about we have to impeach 45, we have to impeach 45. So we go into her district. And while she's living on the outside of her district in a $4.3 million mansion on a $174,000 salary, people in her district are living in tents, are homeless. And so we expose that and bring that to light. I think that it's very important that we, the American people, hold Congress accountable.
That's
and
right.
if they can't or won't work for us, then we're going to have to fire them by voting them out.
So be sure to go to dummycratsthemovie.com. That's dummycratsthemovie.com to get your tickets for this one-night premiere on October the 15th.
Well, that sounds great, ladies, and we appreciate that. And heck, you guys might have a career in journalism if you're, bipartisanly exposing people on both sides. That sounds good to me.
Well, it do sound good. We have to hold Congress accountable because we pay them our tax dollars.
That's right.
So, yes. But in this particular film, we didn't go after anyone, but I have a problem when I see Congress some in Congress disrespecting the Oval Office, disrespecting a sitting president, act like they don't want to work for the American people, are okay with working for illegal aliens. So we have to call that out.
No, you're right, ladies. And once again, how can people be involved in your production?
Listen, first of all, we want you to go see the movie. Go to dummycratsthemovie.com.
All right.
Click on Get Your Tickets, and you can put in your zip code, and it'll tell you where it's premiering in your area. It's in theaters nationwide, October the 15th, 8 o'clock p.m.
And finally, what was it like for both of you to go on social media, to become these incredible stars, surrounded by security, loving the people, to meet the president? For those of us that one day would love to see him here in Idaho, what was it like for both of you to be recognized by the most powerful man in the world, ladies?
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
I mean, it was just like, first of all, it was humbling.
Yes.
Humbling because, if you ever want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. We had no plans for this.
None.
It's humbling to know the most powerful man in the world. It's humbling that sometimes the most powerful man tweets you out, because that happened a few weeks ago. It's humbling when he mentions your name. It's humbling, but you know what? I want people to understand. This man he's for the American people.
Oh, yes,
We're
right.
average Americans, and he listens to Americans. He worked for Americans, the average American person, and I want people to understand that. So I don't think he's too far up there so that nobody can reach him. He pays attention. He listens.
We listen one more time, the movie, so we can all go see it here in Idaho?
Dummycratsthemovie.com. Right. That's dummycratsthemovie.com. Click on Get Your Tickets, and then when the next page come up, you can put in your city, and it'll tell you what location is playing. It premieres October the 15th in theaters nationwide.
Well, ladies, we appreciate you. Thank you, and we'll hope to see you one day in Idaho.
Oh, thank you,
Amazing.
and thank you for having
us.
All right, appreciate that. You're listening to Kevin Miller. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Nice bipartisan message there. KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, once again, at ICOM. Todd Christensen joining us from CapEd Credit Union. Dr. Tracy Farnsworth joining us as well. So we were just talking about taking calls and such. Here, you ever thought you'd be on with Diamond and Silk? They're big stars, and you and Todd as well.
Wow, can you believe that? Me and Diamond and Silk and Todd, and unbelievable.
You never know what's going to happen, and neither do I in the morning.
You never know.
That's why they call it live radio.
Live local radio that makes a difference. Dr. Farnsworth, what led you here? And where were you before coming to Meridian?
That's a great question. Very good question.
I got it from Todd. I kind of stole it from him.
Yeah. Well, I often tell my students that you never really know where your career is going to go, right? Windows open, doors close, the winds of change blow all the time. I actually spent the first 25 years of my career running hospitals and healthcare systems in California and here in Idaho with Intermountain Healthcare, Catholic Systems, and so forth. Then got a doctorate, became a professor, and then a Associate Dean of Health Sciences at Idaho State University. Was really happy, really just loving my life and what I was doing. And then the medical school was announced. And I thought, wow, isn't this interesting? And I did all that I could behind the scenes to be helpful, just to be helpful. And then I got a call one day from the president of ISU and the board chairman of ICOM inviting me to consider stepping in to serve as the president of the medical school. And I was flabbergasted. And it was difficult to leave eastern Idaho where we had deep roots. But this is such a noble and exciting cause, the idea of a new medical school, that my wife Michelle and I said, okay, let's do it. So then we relocated here and could not be more pleased.
See, I'm just personally happy that we have ICOM in the Treasure Valley. What went on with the decision to build it here? You know, Governor Otter always talks about the Magic Valley miracle. I think Todd's going to move to Twin Falls on me. He's always talking about Twin Falls. I mean, that's a joke, Todd. But, I mean, there are, could have been eastern Idaho, could have been in North Idaho. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm partial to this area for obvious reasons. Why did they choose the Treasure Valley?
Right, excellent question. There are many, many communities that wish it were there. Certainly, eastern Idaho is upset that it's not there. Others are unhappy. Look, the medical school is a magnet for economic and social and medical and other growth, right? I mean, gosh, the economic impact of this medical school over 10 years will approach $500 million. Think of that. That's just the economic impact. And then there's the social impact, the educational impact. And the medical schools have tentacles in a lot of branches of society. And a lot of people want to be a part of it, understandably. It necessarily needed to be in a larger market like the Treasure Valley. We needed the large hospitals and the other institutions to help support and sustain what we know today as the Idaho College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Todd, do you have anything else?
Just our appreciation for the opportunity to be here this morning and to be able to expose your listeners to the great things that are taking place not only in K-12 education but also higher education and then also the higher education.
Sure. Dr. Farnsworth, you got anything else? Maybe you'd like to comment on Diamond and Silk and their bipartisan movie there.
Diamond and Silk, aren't they sweet? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good for them. We're just so happy to be here, and we want the people of Idaho and beyond to feel like this is their school of medicine. They can come here and be a part of it.
You can visit every Wednesday, right? At least that's what the students were telling me.
Yeah, I don't know. Can they? Yes, my colleagues are saying yes. Look, you just call us. Make an appointment.
Right.
We've done countless tours. Love it when the public comes. They're all welcome. All right. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Traffic and weather together.
Larry Gabbard.
Thank you, Larry. Joining us once again, Todd Christensen. Okay, let's talk about saving money at CapEd Credit Union. How can people stretch their money further, sir?
Well, one of the things that we'd like to talk about this morning is the CapEd High Yield Checking Account. We've been offering that for just over a decade to members across here in the state of Idaho.
Now, high yield checking, how's that different from just checking?
Well, first of all, it's a free checking account, and it provides a higher yield or a higher interest on your funds, and specifically 2.5% interest on your checking account. We often look at what the CD rates are or the certificate of deposit rates are. In this case, it's a transactional checking account, but you earn interest on that free account.
And that's different from others. Like, what's the advantages of CapEd Credit Union as opposed to a bank?
Well, in this regard, it's those that see your photos on your website and see the banner that's behind you. It's more than banking; it's making a difference. And not only making a difference in the education community, but also making a difference to our members. We looked at the last 12-month period for those of our members who have a high-yield checking account, and the interest that we've paid to those individuals or our members is over $1.2 million.
Wow.
And that's us giving back to our members. We often talk about giving back to our community, but in this case, we want to take a moment to highlight the fact that we're giving back to our members. $1.2 million in interest into a free checking account. We also refund up to $25 a month if you have what we refer to as foreign ATM fees. So if you end up using your CapEd debit card at not one of our networks and you get charged a fee, we actually refund that fee for you. And that's both here in the United States and across the United States.
So like if you go into Winco and you need cash, you don't want to use your CapEd debit card, you can use it to get the cash, and then you get the money, the fee back?
Yep. Exactly.
Wow.
Up to $25 of those fees per month. There are a few qualifications that you need to meet on a monthly basis. They're fairly simple. Have 12 debit card transactions. That's fairly easy to do. Sometimes that takes place in a day.
Right.
Sign up for e-statements. And those are the main elements. And then also utilize our online banking and mobile banking, specifically have an automatic payment out of your account or have an automatic deposit into your account. And those are items that we do on a regular monthly basis anyways. In this case, you can earn 2.5% interest up on balances up to $10,000 and have access to that $10,000 as you need it. And then we also want to share a little bit about our Get Give program. I know we've talked about it a little bit. This is where individuals who are new to CapEd open up.
You beat me to the question. That was my next question. You're on a roll here.
Well, ask the question.
I was just going to say, tell us a little bit about the Get 100 and Give 100, but
I'll roll.
I'm sorry, pardon the interruption. Yeah.
I'll roll right into that then. So get $100 or get 100 and give 100. Open up an account, specifically our high yield checking account. Meet those qualifications that I referenced, and you'll receive $100 deposited directly into your checking account. And at account opening, you have an opportunity to select school district, school, and program that you would like to support with that Give 100. And since April, where we started this program, we have provided over $25,000 to area schools, and that also means that we have provided $25,000 to members that have decided to come and join CapEd, participate in our high yield checking program, and utilize our other banking services.
Let's talk a little bit about the CapEd Foundation. A lot of people, you have 1,000 people moving into the Treasure Valley all the time, it seems, whether it's a month, a week, a day, probably a month. They're not familiar with CapEd and giving back and helping local educators with this foundation.
For those that are new listeners and new to the community, first of all, welcome. And second, to share with you that we've been in the community for over 82 years. We started our Idaho CapEd Foundation in 2012, and it is a way in which we provide funding back to school and specifically teachers into their classroom. So on a monthly basis between September and March during the school year, we offer eight $750 teacher grants, or $6,000 a month, and that's provided through our Idaho CapEd Foundation. We're just finishing out our second month of the new school year and have been able to provide resources to teachers across the state, not only here in the Treasure Valley, but this month we've had recipients from Blackfoot and down in Buell, up in northern Idaho, and so it's a great opportunity to, again, be a part of something that's more than banking. It's making a difference. It's providing you great services for your needs, but also being a part of the education community and supporting the education community.
Todd Christensen, we always appreciate you, brother.
It's always a pleasure to be with you. Great to be here at ICOM and to be able to talk about and speak to the great things that are taking place in education across the board.
I'd say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug. And good morning. Here we are, KIDO Talk Radio. Dr. Farnsworth with us once again. Dr. Hasty with us as well to talk a little bit about, financing to get into this place, scholarship opportunities. Gentlemen, good to have both of you back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so with ICOM, we made a very public pledge that we'll always have our tuition less than the national average for private medical schools. And medical education's, it's not cheap to do this. And we've made a very, very major commitment to have scholarships available for our students. So we're very proud this year to present 7 $5,000 scholarships to our inaugural students from, or some of our inaugural students from Idaho.
What does that mean to these students when they receive that money?
They need all the help they can get, Kevin, quite frankly. Look, it's, as Dr. Hasty mentioned, it's a significant financial commitment to go to medical school. And so we want very much to help them, even if it's a little bit. And we want to attract the best and brightest kids we possibly can as well. And so having these scholarship gifts are hugely helpful.
Can you two remember when you were students, when you see these students?
Absolutely. And I've said this story many times. If I could go back to medical school now, I totally would. It's an incredible transformation process. Being able to go from a pre-med student to a physician, it's a remarkable time for these folks. And of course, it's an expensive time, too, so that's why we're pushing so hard for scholarships.
I was a student back in the dark ages, but yes, I still remember. And those modest scholarships were very meaningful. Financially, symbolically,
right.
It means a lot. Look, let me tell you something else. ICOM is somewhat remarkable in that 88% of our faculty and staff are contributing out of their own pockets to this student scholarship campaign. And so today, we most sincerely invite other persons and other organizations that would like to be a part of the ICOM Student Scholarship Campaign to please contact us. Please reach out and consider making even a modest contribution to these students.
You know, Lou Dobbs has a great quote, education is the great liberator in our society today. What about the challenges of a student who has the mental abilities to become a doctor, but the financial abilities are in the way?
So right now, about 80% of our students actually do have to take, student loans out. And then we also have a number of students that have gone through getting military scholarships. I think it's approximately about 6 students that have the military scholarships as well. And there are always ways, or almost always ways, for folks that have the fire in the belly, have the academic wherewithal, they get accepted in medical school to be able to get through with scholarships, to get through with loans or scholarships. Of course, the idea for us is we want to increase the scholarships to reduce those student loans.
And when we take a look at, again, the significance of ICOM here in Idaho, what it means to the Gem State for those people tuning in.
Sure. Thank you. Great question, Kevin. Well, Dr. Hasty often reminds us that physicians practice in those areas where A, they went to high school, B, where they went to medical school, and C, where they received their graduate medical education. So it's critical that we attract our Idaho-based kids to come here to med school. It's critical that we have this medical school here in the Treasure Valley, which is, as we say, the epicenter of physician shortage in America, and that we grow graduate medical education in this valley as well. If we can do those things, we'll absolutely build up the physician base to serve the healthcare needs of our people for generations to come.
And finally, when we take a look at where you both will be in 10 years, after you have students that have gone through residency, are serving their patients, what will that mean to both of you?
Well, first of all, I think we both hope that we're still here in 10 years, and we plan on, being here. And to see the fruit of some of these labors, to see the difference that ICOM will begin to make for the Treasure Valley, the Gem State, and the region, it's going to be transformational. And so I'm excited about that. And then, I was reminded that later on today we're actually going to be bearing a time capsule for ICOM to be open in 40 years. Uh-oh. And we have all sorts of information and newspapers and, all sorts of marketing materials and stuff. It'll be interesting to be here. And, President Farnsworth and I, we made a pledge that we're going to be here in 40 years. And I invite you along too, Kevin.
I appreciate that. Appreciate joining the club there.
It'll be wonderful. I'll be 100 years old. I plan on it. Absolutely plan on being here in 40 years. You know what, though, in 40 years, you think of it, you work the math, and we will have graduated over 6,000 of these wonderful students of medicine in 40 years. And they'll be spread across the region, serving the people of Idaho and beyond. What a great blessing that will be.
Gentlemen, finally, before we go to New York and Tanya J. Powers, again, the most eclectic morning show in America. We're going from medicine to Kanye West and the White House. What would you say to the listening public? Both of you, have dealt with patients, taking care of them, and we always have that distrust of going to the doctor's office. We always have that nervousness. What would you say to people to calm their fears about going to the doctor?
Well, let me say first, Dr. Hasty and his team are very, very fussy about who they select.
We heard about the mom test earlier.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Well, look, that's important. We don't want just smart kids that we turn into doctors. We want people with great character, a great empathy, the ability to receive patients, to hear patients, to listen to patients, to treat their whole mind, body, and spirit, if you will. And so, and look, people need to have a physician, a primary care physician. They need to have a medical home, a place where they can go that will receive and process all their medical needs and make needed referrals as needed.
There's a famous quote that says that patients don't so much care about what you know, but they certainly know how much you care. And with ICOM graduates, with what we're going to do, the physicians that we're going to train here, these are going to be incredibly caring physicians, and they're going to provide excellent care for folks. And I look forward to the day that folks seek out ICOM graduates because they know they're excellent and caring physicians. They're going to be there at the bedside, patient-centered, empathetic, and folks that will be there for the patient.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate you having us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Take care.
You betcha.
Joining us now, Tanya J. Powers from New York, Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
So here we go from Idaho's first medical school to you, Kanye, the president, in the White House.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment with Miller in the morning. So,
No.
what's the reaction to what happened yesterday?
Oh, my goodness. Well, so much, actually. There was a lot of buzz about, Kanye going to the White House at first. We thought it was on Tuesday, and then came to find out, no, it's on Thursday. So he went yesterday. He had his Make America Great Again hat on. And he talked about the hat, actually, and he told the president, he said, people tried to scare me not to wear the hat. He said, it gives me power in a way, the hat does. He said, you made a Superman cape for me. So I'm assuming he's comparing the hat to that. It was a very interesting visit. They talked about a lot of different topics, just the ones we know about, and they had a closed door lunch, which I'm sure they talked about other things as well. But he said that they discussed everything from mental health, endorsement deals, social issues, hydrogen planes, politics. There was a whole lot of stuff. There was a hug. I think the F word was dropped a couple times. It was very, it sort of ran the gamut of what you might have expected from a Kanye and President Trump meeting in the Oval Office.
Almost seemed like a Saturday Night Live performance, though, on a Tuesday afternoon.
Can you imagine what SNL is going to do with this, by the way? I think it'll be interesting to see their show on Saturday night to see what they come up with, because they'll have some sort of skit on this.
Indeed, of course, the president also part of, a broader message, signing the Music Act, specifically giving artists that have had music their chance to get some fees if they had recorded something prior to 1972. You had the Beach Boys there, John Rich there. So it was a day of arts and entertainment at the White House.
And what's interesting about this? I mean, a lot of people made a big deal about the fact that, it was crazy that Kanye West was going to go to the White House and be in the Oval Office and things like that. But when you think about the bigger picture and sort of stand back and look at this, you've got his wife, Kim Kardashian, who managed to get a woman paroled. I mean, pardoned. I'm not paroled, pardoned, freed from prison. And it just kind of shows you the value that celebrity has in when it comes to the context of making things happen. Matter of fact, the fact that she was able to do that has actually changed the way some people are going about applying for their pardons. There's now a push to see if, okay, does anybody know anybody who knows somebody who's a celebrity? Can they possibly put in a good word with the president? Because, we know the president likes celebrities. That's not a secret, So in a way, this kind of celebrity stuff has actually changed the way certain things in the government are approached.
Well, maybe we can say that we know you.
I'm not really sure that's going to get you very far. Now, John Decker, maybe. But, they're familiar with him in a good way. So,
that is a tough call on the Kevin Miller power index between you, Decker, and Sutherland.
I'm going to go for politics power. Those two definitely outrank me.
No, I'm just talking about, our power ranking index of who the audience prefers. I have to say it is, it's tough to determine who's the top of the big three from Fox News Radio.
I will always defer to the other two because I think the world of those folks, and they're, definite friends of mine. So I would always put those two ahead of me.
You see, now you're manipulating me because I would be inclined to go with Decker. Because he made time for me, and that's always a good thing. Being of course, a self-centered media person or a semi-media person or a semicolon. But now that you have thrown yourself on the sword, I can't help but be cheering for you on this one.
I don't even know why. I don't even know why that's a question. Honestly, seriously, these two, I really admire the work that they do on a continual basis,
Sure.
especially covering Washington. That is quite the 24-hour gig now. So
no, I'm with you. See, and once again, I'll get dinged for being sidetracked by your brilliance. Our political expert, Tanya J. Powers.
I love how you blame me for your sidetrackness. That was slick. I caught that.
I choose to be a victim.
Nicely done.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Jay Powers joining us, as always, from Fox News Radio, exclusively on KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to the phones. And we're joined by Pro Life, who joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pro Life.
Yeah, our physician is an osteopath, and osteopaths generally are better at internal diagnosis. They're better at general medicine. And I think the whole culture of osteopathic medicine is more, I guess you'd say, moral and conservative than the other medical schools. They're more likely to, they learn chiropractic, and then they can do chiropractic manipulations. They're more inclined to herbal medicine, and they partner many times with naturopaths and chiropractors. And so you get a better natural medicine kind of a orientation from osteopaths. But they have every licensability, and they can specialize in anything, so they're like other physicians. But anyway, I'm definitely, it's great to have them in our valley and in Idaho. Then the only other thing I want to say is the Democrats have no chance. And we're having these debates, on the television and stuff between a Democrat and a Republican. They'll be so boring and stupid that it doesn't amount to anything. And they're not going to let any third-party people in there. And that's pretty sad because that could spice it up a little.
Well, unfortunately, there's some collusion within the media.
Yeah.
And I got into a discussion this week with Jeff the Suit, and I got into a discussion with Mrs. Miller on this. And in past, as you know, we've played the debate game, but unless you're going to put everybody in, it's really not a true debate. And really what these media entities will not tell you, it's not about public service. It's about promoting themselves, and props to them for doing it, but they don't care about the candidates. They don't care about the voters. They care about being perceived to care about it. And again, props to them for doing it, but nothing's going to come to it. I'll tell you a secret, Pro-Life. Paulette Jordan was in our building yesterday.
Yeah.
And she is so out of touch She's surrounded by this entourage and such. Now, you compare that to Brad Little, and this is just a nonpartisan observation. The lieutenant governor might have one person with him, if that. He's always approachable, and, again, not to be negative and kind of to rescind my comments a little, the big election was the primary, and that's why we're going to have Dr. Ahlquist on next week. I still think there's such a great story to be told about the Republican primary.
Yep, I agree. Well, God bless you, Kevin.
God bless you, my friend. Take care, Pro-Life.
All right, we'll see you.
We'll see you. To the publisher of the Gem State Patriot, we like to call him Tea Party Bob on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. You should be asking those doctors at the medical school how to fix that cold you acquired.
Either that or, Mrs. Miller says I'm breathing heavy into the radio, so I had to move my mic.
Well, I think this school is going to bring us a lot closer to integrative medicine in the Treasure Valley. Once again, Kevin Miller, our number one radio host in the Treasure Valley, is doing another first by being at the Osteopathic School in Meridian, having Diamond and Silk on to plug their new movie. And last but not least, you got to have one of the village idiot progressives on, betting the farm that Paulette Jordan and her assortment of socialists are going to win the November election. Just goes to show you how popular your show is becoming and gaining momentum by the day.
Well, we hope so, because we'd like to stick around, We don't assume anything.
So while the dimwits in the fake news media are praying that the stock market gets cut in half, wishing Condi West would get lockjaw and stop hugging the president, we of the conservative persuasion are laughing our butts off.
Let me ask you, let me interrupt you for a minute. As someone who knows the stock market, is a professional, you've met with Donald Trump. That's not hyperbole. You study the stocks. You've got supercomputers in your downtown Meridian headquarters. What do you see as the cause of the hiccup? And you've talked about the stocks with us for years.
There's a lot of different causes, and it really depends on who you are and what you feel about the market. But in general, we were just way too high. Technically, we had a double top, and we were due for a correction. This is what, pretty much what Petzo said. This is a correction. We're going to have one. It can be anywhere between 5 to 15% is my guess. We may not be done with the downside, but it sure looks like we're going to have a little bit of a nice bounce today. Generally, I feel pretty comfortable with what's going on in the market and the economy. And for my money, I'm not taking any money out. In fact, I'm looking to find another entry point to buy some more indexes and see if we can't make some more money on the upside. So I always look at things like this as an opportunity rather than some kind of a crisis. You never sell into a down market like this. You always wait and see what's going to happen. But I do think we're going to be okay. We were just too high. It just went up too fast for too long. And this happens in markets like this. So let me continue on. We've had a couple of good weeks.
Well, here, let me do this. Can you hang on for a minute?
Sure I can.
All right, more in a minute. KIDO Talk Radio. They're from the Channel 7 First Alert. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Kevin. Not bad for the daytime high today, up to 64 degrees. We've got some sunshine. 55 is all we're talking about for a high on Sunday. We're going to be seeing some potential frost each morning, the next couple of mornings. Then mid-60s, in fact, all the way to 67 by the end of next week. I'm just Channel 7's Larry Gebert.
And back to Tea Party Bob, GemStatePatriot.com. Your thoughts, sir, as as you bring us into Glenn Beck.
Well, I just wanted to finish up by saying it's been a great couple of weeks for the conservatives. Getting a new associate justice on the Supreme Court, Republicans gaining in the polls the November election, and the Democrats having to resort to kicking us while we're down and having riots in the streets of Portland. What more could a conservative ask for? I'm only going to reiterate, the proof of the pudding is going to be in the voting on November 6th, and if we take the House and the Senate, we can have a grand celebration if everyone gets out and votes. By the same token, if we are lackadaisical and don't go out, we could have a wait coming up if the Democrats take either the House or the Senate. So I'm asking everybody to get out to the polls and make your voice heard by voting in the November election. Kevin, I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
I'll see you tomorrow, right?
I certainly hope so.
To be continued, Tea Party Bob. Thank you.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks to Chandler, George, Ray, Todd Christensen, and you. God bless. Keep the faith. Glenn Beck is next.